Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to math class. We are starting a brand new topic, and that would be area and perimeter. So we're going to get started on 11.1, and if you could turn to page 623, that would be great. And I see that Miss Judith has decided to join us over here. She loves math class. All right, so let's get started. Hopefully you've opened up your books and we are on page 623. And so it says perimeter and area. So if you're looking, it says show what you know. Check your understanding of important skills. So it says use non-standard units of measurement for length. And we've talked about standard and non-standard. So if I wanted to say non-standard, I would say my laptop is 2 pop bottles long. Well, you don't know if I'm talking about a 2-liter bottle, which would be taller, or this one that has 16 ounces. So that's non-standard. But if you used a standard unit of measurement, that would be more like a foot, 5 inches, centimeters, meters, anything that it doesn't matter where you live, it would be the same anywhere. So those are standard units of measurement. So use paper clips to measure an object. So we're just going to look at number 1, and we can see here we have a piece of string, and we can see that it is 2 paper clips long. So that's a non-standard, because we don't know if they're using the big paper clips, the small paper clips, or those tiny little cute baby clips. Okay, so we can see it's about 2 paper clips, and we can see right here that it's about 2 paper clips. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, use the paper clips to measure the object. So this piece of string, both of those are about 2 paper clips. All right, so it says add 3 numbers. These are so easy. So I would find the 10 first. So 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 2 is 12. I like to find groups. I group numbers together. So I see the 3 and the 2 is 5, and I know 5 plus 5 is 10. I make another 10, 9 plus 1 is 10, and then I add the 6 is 16. So this would be an array. Arrays are going to come into play when we start talking about area. Area is going to be using multiplication. So this will be really cool. If you remember our arrays, we have 3 rows of 4. So there's 1 row, 2 rows, 3, 4. There's 4 plus 4 plus 4. So instead of adding, we use multiplication. So we say 3 times 4 is 12. Now you have 4 rows of 2. Now, some of you might be looking at the columns, but that would be incorrect because there's only 2 columns of 4. It says 4 rows of 2, so you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember, you have to really look closely to what the math problem is saying. Both are the same because we know that that would be the commutative property of multiplication. And so we know that they're going to equal the same thing. So 4 rows of 2 is 8. All right, so we're going to skip math in the real world only because we run out of time and my videos go a little long, and I apologize for that. So we have some different review words. So we have length, unit, and width. We have equal units and unit square. So I'm going to give you the answers here just because of time constraints. So we're looking at a Venn diagram, and we can see the two circles, and they overlap. So this over here on your right hand side, or I'm not sure because it's backwards when when it's recording. So in the perimeter side, this would be only the perimeter. This would be only subject to the area, whereas where they overlap, that's where both perimeter and area share these qualities. So a unit goes in perimeter, square unit goes in area, unit square goes in area, And then in the center, they share length and width, okay? Going down below, complete the sentences using the review words. So the distance around a figure is called the perimeter. The area is the measure of the number of square units needed to cover a surface, and we've talked about an area rug. We've talked about perimeter is the distance around, and we're really going to get involved in these. I know we've talked about them a little bit, but we're really going to get involved. Number 3 is you can count using repeated addition or multiply to find the area of a rectangle. A unit square is a square with a side length of 1 unit and is used to measure area. And then the last one is the distributive property, shows that you can break apart a rectangle into smaller rectangles and then add the area of each smaller rectangle to find a total. And I'm going to show you examples of that. All right, so we're going to move on. On here you can see you have this in your book, and I made little arrows for you so you can find the answers. So you can go over these and you can cut them out in your book and you can have flashcards, but we don't have enough time in the video to do that. So I apologize. You also have this game that you can play, and you only need a timer and a sketch pad. So you should be able to play this game, and it will be fun. All right, so here we go. We are back to it. All right, so modeling perimeter. How can you find perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around. So if you look at my walls, you can see that there's wallpaper up there, okay? So perimeter measures the outside. So if you were going out to your yard and you put up a fence, you would measure the distance around your yard. That's the perimeter, okay? So perimeter is the distance around a figure. So we do not have geo boards that we're going to use rubber bands on, but we have our book, and so we're going to be drawing in our book. And it says you can find the perimeter of a rectangle on a geo board or on dot paper. This is our dot paper, by counting the number of units on each side. Make a rectangle on the geo board that is 3 units on 2 sides and 2 units on the other side. So hopefully you have your pencil and you have your book open. So we're going to make a rectangle. So we know rectangles have 2 sides that are the same and then 2 other sides that are the same. The parallel sides are the same. So we're going to go across 3 units. Now you can see right here that from one dot to the other dot, that's 1 unit. So we'll go 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. Then it says, there's our 3 units. Now we need 2 units on the other side. So we're going to go 1, 2. 1, 2. And we know we're making a rectangle. So there's our 2 sides that have 2 units. And there are our parallel sides that have 3 units. Okay, so draw your rectangle on your dot paper. Hopefully everyone has that. Now, we know that this side has 3. We know this side has 3. We know this side up here has 2. And we know this side down here has 2. And we know that perimeter is the distance around a figure. So let's say we're talking about your backyard, okay? And so maybe your fence goes 2 feet on this side, 3 feet on this side, 2 feet on this side, and 3 feet on this side. If I wanted to know how long my fence was, I would walk around, measure it, and add them all up. So I would have 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. And I know my numbers are a little crooked. I apologize for that. So then you know that you are adding up these numbers because it's the distance around something. So I went 2, 3, 2, 3. Now I put my numbers in order, 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. And then your answer should be, if you add them up, you have 2 plus 2 is 4, and 3 plus 3 is 6. So 4 plus 6 equals, hopefully everyone knows, that it equals 10. So the units is 10. 10 units. So each one of these little lines from one line to the next line is standing for units. All right, so it says, how would the perimeter of a rectangle change if the length of two of the sides was 4 units instead of 3 units? So instead of having this be 3 units, we would add on, so it would be 4 units on each side. So what would change? So we could do that. We could do that with math. We could say, okay, instead of 3 units, we have 4. So it would be 4 plus 4 plus the 2, because the 2 didn't change, plus the 2, and then equals. So if you go back up here, instead of this being a 3, it would be 4. And instead of this being 3, it would be 4. And so we now have 4 plus 4, and hopefully you see that that is, whoa, look at that messy line. You would see that 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus another 2 is, hopefully you're seeing, 10 plus 2 is 12, and that would be units. Okay? That was pretty funny. I'm always amazed at how messy my handwriting is when I'm drawing with a mouse most times. I do have a stylus that I bought, but it's a little bit difficult sometimes. So it's always interesting to see what my numbers look like. All right, so the next one, let's make sure my pages are in order. All right, so we have draw conclusions. Describe how you would find the perimeter of a rectangle that is 5 units wide and 6 units long. All right, so let's just draw. Okay, we're going to draw a rectangle. So you guys draw a rectangle right here. And I'll move my face. All right, so it says that we are going to have one side that is 5 units. So the shorter side is going to be 5, right? And we know that rectangles have 4 sides. And so 2 sides are going to be the same. And then the other 2 sides are going to be the same. So we put the longer sides at 5. And then we're going to put the other sides as 6. All right. So now it says, describe how you would find the perimeter of a rectangle that is 5 units wide and 5 units long. Pretend like this is your backyard, okay? You want to know the perimeter is the distance around something. So you're going to walk, let's say you put yourself, okay, so right here, you are standing, okay? This is you. You are going to walk around your fence, and you're going to walk from here to here, and then you're going to turn and you're going to go up this fence line. You're going to walk all the way along this fence line, and you're going to walk to the beginning. You want to know how far have you walked. So this is 6 units long this way, 5 units long this way, 6 units long this way, and 5 units long this way. So you want to add up your units. Okay? I don't know why these are always such big numbers when I'm adding. All right, so I'm going to do 6 plus 6 plus the 5 equals, because I have 6 plus 6 is 12, plus the 5 plus 5 is 10, and we know 10 plus 12 is 22 units. So that would be our answer. Okay? Perfect. You guys are doing such a great job. All right, so this one says a rectangle has 2 pairs of sides of equal length. We totally get that because we know 2 pairs of sides, just like these two and these two, there's 2 pairs of sides of equal length. Explain how you can find the unknown length of 2 sides when the length of one side is 4 and the perimeter is 14. Oh, I love these kind of. Okay, so let's draw a rectangle, okay? Let's draw a rectangle. So there's our rectangle. Perfect. All right, now, this is the fun part. So we know that the perimeter equals 14. So let's just write a formula down, okay? So perimeter equals, all right, so perimeter, and I'm going to just do a capital P for perimeter equals length plus width. Okay, would you all agree with that? Let me make that a capital L. Length plus width. Okay? So we're going to go on and we're going to see that perimeter is actually going to be equal to 14. 14, okay? And we know already that this short side is 4. And if this short side is 4, we know that the other short side is 4 also. So I'm just going to move this stuff over so I have more room. So we know that one side is 4, so that means this side is 4. Okay? Now you have to think to yourself, if you know this is 4 and this is 4, and you know perimeter is length plus width, so we need the length plus the width to equal 14. Well, we already have 8 accounted for. We already have 4 plus 4. Now we need the missing numbers. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So think to yourself, 14 minus 8 is what? Actually, I need to move these because it's going to be a shorter side. Okay, so we're missing these two sides. Okay, so 14 minus 8, did you guys all get 6? And then we know these have to be the same. So 6 divided by 2 is, you are brilliant, you are correct. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So if you look, you have 14. You know perimeter equals, well, think to yourself, what is 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3? Well, 4 plus 4 is 8, and 3 plus 3 is 6, and you know that 8 plus 6 is 14, and when you add all of these up, you can see 7 and 7 is 14. You guys just did algebra. How fun is that? All right, so let me move some of these numbers out of the way. All right. So it says, Jill says that finding the perimeter of a figure with all the sides of equal length is easier than finding the perimeter of another figure. Okay, well, how many of you think that that's probably true? That it's easier? Well, I would say that probably yes, it's much easier because all the sides are equal. So you can just multiply the length and then you have the perimeter. So that really is pretty simple. I would have to agree with her. All right, so making connections. You can also use grid paper to find the perimeter of figures by counting number of units on the side, because perimeter is the distance around. So if you want to find the perimeter of something, all you have to, oh, that's the worst line, isn't it? I need to erase that, sorry. So if you are trying to find the perimeter of something, it's really simple if you just count right along here how many units. That's really simple. So you can just say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, now you'll notice that I put a little dot. That really does help to figure out that you've already counted it, because you might forget, well, did I count that side? So just always have a strategy. So that one would be 16 units. Okay, so start at the arrow right here and then trace the perimeter by counting with a number 1 as you go all the way around. Okay, I'm going to do it with you. You might already have started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're counting the sides going around because it's like a fence. 6, 7, 8. Don't forget this little one. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Did everyone get 14 units? All right, so if you think about it, let me go to my highlighter and I'll show you kind of what, we'll go to a paintbrush, that will be fun. So this would be like the grass. And that's why we're doing perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around your backyard. Okay, this would be your backyard. Okay, so what you're doing is you're counting and you are measuring the distance around your backyard. All right, so you're going from the outside edge and you are counting the units that it takes to go around the exterior part of your yard. It's the distance around something. Okay, I hope you're grasping that. Perimeter is the distance around. All right, so we're gonna move on to the share and show. So we're gonna pause the video and you'll be able to watch your share and show in just 1 second.
You know, I love mistakes because they always teach me a valuable lesson. I want to share with you a little mistake that my friend Kevin made that I think really illustrates some of the pitfalls of finding perimeter. Let's have a look together. So, Kevin is solving lots of perimeter questions. Okay, now he counts the units of this particular shape and says that the perimeter is 19 units. Now, let's use the grid, this one, to find the correct perimeter of the shape and see where Kevin might have made a mistake. Now, look at what Kevin did. To me, this looks so good that when you first look at it, you go, there's no mistake. Kevin's awesome. Well, Kevin is awesome, but I think he made a mistake. So check it out. So he writes the numbers here. Each one of these represents a length. So we have 1, 2, 3. Then he comes over here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. It looks great. But remember what perimeter is measuring. It's measuring the length of that boundary along the edge of the figure, whatever the figure is. Now, if we look really closely, we'll see that actually there was some errors here, because check it out. If each one of these represents 1 unit, as it does, then we notice we have 1, 2, 3 units here, but then we move over here. So that's actually 4, and then we have, and then we have 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, 11. You see how we're off by 1? And then when we come back up to here, notice he makes the same mistake again. He calls this 16, but then he never counts this one. He goes right to this one to say 17. And so what we see here, and then over here, he calls this 19, but then he never counts that one. So it's not just a matter of counting the squares around, which is what he did. That's not quite perimeter. Perimeter is the length of that border, the length of that boundary, that outside length. So if we were to start right here, and I'll try to do this one right now live. Let's see. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually count it. Let's see if I can just count it as I go. So I'm going to kind of move it and count. So I'm going to have, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see he had 6 now, I'm already at 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So actually, there are 22 units that make up the perimeter, and so the answer is actually 22 units. And that is the perimeter. And you can see where he kind of went wrong. He counted this only once, so that's not so good. He counted this only once, that's not so good. And he counted this only once, when in fact that's actually 1, 2 units, 1, 2 units, 1, 2 units. So he was 3 off, and if you take 19 and actually add 3, you actually get the correct answer of 22. So perimeter is a really, really tricky thing. If you're just going to count kind of squares around, don't do that. Counting squares will only give you some kind of area of something. If you want perimeter, actually find the length and make sure that if things bend and fold, that you count all the way through those bends and folds, those nooks and crannies, and when you add them all up, you will get the perfect perimeter. Have fun finding the perimeter in your life, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, I hope that helped so that we can find the perimeter of our shapes. And I hope you saw what Kevin's mistake was when he was doing perimeter. All right, so let's get started here. So hopefully you have your pen, and we are going to do the same thing. We are going to find the perimeter of the figure. Each unit is 1 centimeter. So we want to be counting as we're drawing. So I'm going to start right here. So you guys find where you want to draw, okay? I'm going to try my finger first. All right, here we go. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So hopefully you got 12 centimeters because they actually told us what each one of these little units are actually representing. They're representing centimeters. So show me a centimeter. You are correct. It is from one side of your finger to the other side of your finger. And that makes sense. If you put your finger on your book, you can see that it is kind of that little unit is almost 1 centimeter. So let's go to the next one. We're going to start right up at the top left-hand corner. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Hopefully you are drawing around, and as you are drawing, you are counting. It's very, very important that you're organized and neat while you're doing this. All right, let's do it again. This looks like a square. So just think to yourself, a square has 4 sides, all the same length. And you can see on one side, it is 3 on one side. So that means all 4 sides are 3 centimeters. So do you already have it in your head what the answer should be? All right, let's draw and check. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I hope you guys got 3 times 4 is 12, and so is 12 centimeters. So you can use multiplication if you have something like that, because we know it's repeated addition, and we know that perimeter is length plus width plus length plus width, or however many sides. If it's an octagon, how many sides are you going to add up? You're going to add up 8 sides. okay? So right now we've been doing some quadrilaterals here, but we know that we have to add up every single side because perimeter is length plus width. All right, let's start right up here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 centimeters. All right, find the perimeter. A figure with 4 sides, quadrilateral, that measure 4 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 1 centimeter. Oh my goodness. They want to know the perimeter. So you are going to set up a math problem. So please write down perimeter equals length plus width. You can write so much neater than me. So then we are going to write perimeter equals, and we know it's length plus length plus width, or however many sides there are. So please start writing. We have 4 plus 6 plus, I have no idea, I gotta move this because my W is in the way. So we have the 4, the 6 plus 5 plus 1. And then so perimeter equals, so we have 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 1 more is 16, and it says centimeters. Oh, how messy is that? All right, so hopefully you got 16 centimeters. The next one we have here. All right, let me make some room for my math work. All right, so a figure with 2 sides that measure 10 inches, one side that measures 8 inches, and one side that measures 4 inches. Now, the first thing we need to look at is that it says 2 sides measure 10 inches. So please write down your formula. Perimeter equals length plus width. How cool is it that you're in 3rd grade and you're already doing something that has a formula? I think that's so cool. All right, so we're going to do perimeter equals, we have 2 sides at 10 inches, then we have one with 8 and one with 4. So please write down your numbers, 10 plus 10 plus 4, and then plus 8. All right, so perimeter equals 10 plus 10 is 20. We'll do the plus 8 is 28 plus 4. So you can break the 4 up into 2 groups of 2. 28 plus 2 is 30, plus another 2 is 32. Hopefully you got 32, and it's inches this time. All right, let's move on. Explain how to find the length of each side of a triangle with sides of equal lengths and a perimeter of 27. Oh, okay, so we have a triangle that has equal lengths. What would an equal length all the way around, what kind of triangle would that be? It has a very special name. You are correct, equilateral. An equilateral triangle has 3 sides, and all 3 sides total 27. So 27 divided into 3 sides, how many inches would each side be? Hopefully you came up with 9, because 9 times 3 is 27. I love that. It's using all of your prior knowledge. Okay, so you are going to draw a rectangle with a perimeter of 18 centimeters, okay? Select the rectangle that Louisa could have drawn. Mark all that apply, and you can use your grid if you don't know. Okay, now first of all, perimeter is the distance around a figure. There is a rectangle. So a rectangle means there are 4 sides, okay? and it has to equal 18. So right here, you have 9 centimeters long and 2 centimeters wide. Okay, well, think to yourself, if you were to draw a rectangle over here, all right, let's just pretend, okay, and let's say that you have 9 centimeters long and you have 2 centimeters wide, and perimeter is the distance around, and it can only be a perimeter of 18. You know that can't be it, because if you add up these two sides right there, 9 plus 9 is 18, then you still have the other 4 that you have. So that one doesn't work. How about 6 and 3? So if you erase and you do your 6 and 3. So go ahead and put your 6 and your 3, and then add those up. So you would do 6 plus 3 is 9. And then on this side, you have 6 and 3 is 9. And what is 9 plus 9? You are correct, it's 18. So that one works. How about 4 and 4? Well, you know it's a quadrilateral, and 4 times 4 is 16, so that doesn't work. How about 5 and 4? Okay, so let's do 5 and 4. So if you do 5 and 4, you would have 5 and 5 and 4 plus 4, and you add them all up. What's 5 plus 4? 9. And 5 plus 4, 9, and 9 plus 9 is 18. You are correct. How about if we did 7 on this side and 7 on this side, and 2 on this side and 2 on this side? Well, what is 7 plus 2? That is 9. And what is 7 plus 2? That is 9. And 9 plus 9 is 18. You are correct. Nicely done. All right, here's Kevin's mistake, okay? So you have to find the error. So I would like you to go through and count up just like we did with Professor Berger, okay? And he counts the units and says that the perimeter is 18. Well, we know that is not correct. So we're going to go through and we are going to count it up. So hopefully we're going to start at the same place right here. 1, 2, 3. Don't forget to go over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Don't forget to go up 18, 19, 20. Okay? So it was a little bit smaller than the one that Professor Berger did, but you can see that he did not count this side here or that side there. Okay? And 18, he was minus his 2. All right? So that's what our error is. All right, we're going to keep moving along. This is your practice and your homework. This is what you're going to do on your own. You're going to pause the video and then you're going to come back and I'm going to give you your answers. Okay, so pause the video. All right. So hopefully you had enough time to find your perimeter, which is the distance around something. All right, so you should have gone and you should have started at 1 and counted down, over, up, until you connected over, and you would have gotten 22 centimeters. All right, so down below it says, use the drawing for 3 and 4. So you have Patrick and Jillian's figure. It says, what is the perimeter of Patrick's figure? And you can see that they are in centimeters. So if you did the perimeter, which is the distance around Patrick's figure, you would have gone all the way and counted every single line block okay? And you would have found that his was 20 centimeters. Then you went to Jillian, okay? And it says, how much greater is the perimeter of Jillian's shape than the perimeter of Patrick? So you would have gone along and counted. Now, here's the thing. How much greater is Jillian's? If you look at Jillian's, you think to yourself, hers looks smaller, doesn't it? But hers is actually 2 centimeters. How much greater is the perimeter of Jillian's shape than the perimeter of Patrick's? That was 2 centimeters. All right, so down below, you can do that on your own. We're going to move on to the next page. And this is your lesson check, okay? So hopefully you were able to pause the video and finish your practice in your homework and your lesson check. Number 1 says find the perimeter. You should have counted the distance around your shape, and you would have come up with 20 centimeters because each one was worth a centimeter. The next one says find the perimeter of the figure of each using 1 centimeter. So you had to count your distance around. This one was a little tricky because you had to go down and in, and you had to count the up little ones. So you had to make sure you didn't forget to count those ones, those edges. And you should have gotten 26 centimeters. For our spiral review, which reviews everything from the past, you should have order the fractions from least to greatest. So if we look at it, we can see 2/4 is also equivalent to 1/2. We can see that 2/3 is actually larger than 1/2 because 1 1/2 is half of a third. And then you can see 2/6 is less than half of a sixth because you'd have to have 3/6. So order the fractions from least to greatest. Hopefully you saw that it was 2/6 because that's less than half. Then 2/4, which would have been half. And then 2/3, which is more than half. Okay. I always look for the halves and then I find out what's greater than a half and what's less than half. All right, so Casey's school starts at the time shown on the clock. What time does Casey's school start? Hopefully you took your hour hand and you drew it out and you circled the lower hour so you knew that it was 8. And then you would skip count around starting at 0 and it was pointing to the 6. And we know when we skip count around by 5s that each number is worth 5, and from 12 to 6 is 30 minutes. Compare the fraction 4/8, which is equal to 1/2, and 3/8, which is less than a half. So we know 4/8 is greater than 3/8. Aiden wants to find the mass of a bowling ball. The mass, okay, that would be how much something weighs, the mass, the weight. We know that grams weighs like a paper clip or a safety pin, and you need 1,000 of those to make up a kilogram. So what unit should he use? Should he use a gram or should he use a kilogram? And you are right, he should use a kilogram. All right, I hope you all about perimeter. I think it's a lot of fun because you're using multiplication and addition and all of these skills from geometry, and you're putting it all together, and you can use it in the real world. So let's say you want to, while you're on this break, help your parents outside putting up a new fence or putting up a garden. You would know what the distance around your garden is. Maybe you're wallpapering your room, and so you can find the distance around your bedroom. There's so many things that you can use perimeter for, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.